Hi darlings, so today we're going to be comparing these two products. So in my left hand I have the all famous Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter, and then over here I have its dupe, which is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter. So both of these products have been around for a while, and the reason I decided to review both of these and compare them was because I got this one gifted recently. Now I don't have to do a video review for it, but I just wanted to do a review because this is like a super popular product and I want to see if it's actually worth it or it's just something that's gone viral for kind of no reason. And then this one, so I bought the Halo Glow filter pretty much as soon as it came out. So when it came out, there was a pretty big wait list because this one's really popular, so everybody wanted the dupe. So I got it and it was back in stock. I had to wait for it to be in stock again on e.l.f.com, and then I finally got it. And I might have had this for a year or two. I honestly never really used this. The thing is, when I got this, I tried it on a few times and I realized I didn't like it. So I just put it to the side. But once I got this, I tried this and I kind of felt the same way about it. I'm not sure if I really like it. So then I thought, okay, maybe I should give this another try. And then I realized maybe I'm just using these wrong, or maybe I personally don't like the glowy effect that it has. So I'm gonna do a side-by-side comparison, and I want you to let me know what you think, if I should use this more or use this more, and pretty much any advice you have for me on how to make these products work better. But here's my insights so far. So if we start off with the Hollywood Flawless Filter from Charlotte Tilbury, so this one, it retails at Sephora for $49. Now I've never spent that much on a foundation. I usually just buy the Rare Beauty foundation with just $30, and recently I bought this foundation from Lancome. It was around $20 because I got it for 50% off at Sephora. So I generally don't spend a lot on foundation, and apparently this isn't a foundation. That was one of the main things I was doing wrong with both of these products, is they're not foundations, but they say that you can use them as a foundation. It's also recommended to mix it with your foundation, so that's something I've been doing wrong with these. They're better used as highlighters or to be mixed in with the foundation. So anyhow, this one is $49 at Sephora, and then this one is $14 on e.l.f.com. So there's a huge difference in the price point between these, and we all know that e.l.f. is a drugstore brand and Charlotte Tilbury is more of a luxury brand, so there obviously will be that big of a price difference. But is it really worth that big of a price difference is up to you and me to decide. So in terms of size, this one says it's 30 milliliters and this one says it's 31.5 milliliters. So even though this one's slightly taller, it's pretty much the same amount of product you're getting in both of them. And then they're different shades. So this one is the medium shade. I think this one matches my skin tone better than the e.l.f. one I got. The e.l.f. one I got is shade 3 light medium. So this one, in my opinion, is a little more orangey, and I feel like this one matches my skin better. It might be hard to tell on camera, but that's what they look like. And I usually do get light medium shades. I don't think this one had a light medium shade. Let me check. So I checked the different shades, and it turns out that they don't have a light medium in the Charlotte Tilbury. The earlier shade before this is a fair shade. Now this is what the applicator looks like. Now usually I will put some product on this palette because I do have acne, so I try to minimize how much bacteria is going around, but sometimes I will just use this applicator, so it really just depends on how bad my face is at the time. And let me show you what it looks like on my hand. So that is the Charlotte Tilbury. It's slightly lighter than my skin, I think, and it definitely looks like a foundation, but it looks like a little bit glowier of a foundation. So that's what it looks like. And then I will show you the e.l.f. one right next to it. So same applicator as the Charlotte Tilbury, although I do think the packaging of this is better because if you look at the hole, like it's really big, so you can get a lot of more product out, whereas the Charlotte Tilbury was a little thin. So the one below this one is the e.l.f. and as you can see, the colors are really different. So the Charlotte Tilbury definitely looks more glowy, and then this one is a little bit more orangey neutral. And let me compare the size of the applicators. So like I was explaining, the e.l.f. one, the opening is really big, whereas the Charlotte Tilbury opening is really small. And I find that hard to get all of the product out of the bottle as I use this more often. So I feel like there's gonna be a lot of product that'll get wasted because I'm not able to like use the applicator to reach all the corners of the bottle. But anyhow, so let's compare the size of the applicators. So I didn't realize this at first, but the e.l.f. applicator is a lot bigger, and then the Charlotte Tilbury one is smaller. Now that obviously is because the openings of the bottles are also different, but I do think in terms of application, the smaller ones might be better if you're just wanting to like apply it here and like apply it on like the highlighting areas. But if you want to like dot this all over your face, then the e.l.f. applicator is better. So now I'm gonna show you what it looks like blended out with my finger. So first is the Charlotte Tilbury. It honestly just looks kind of white, like that's kind of the white highlight reflection it gives. And then now I'm gonna use a different finger for the e.l.f. So I feel like the e.l.f. kind of faded away a little bit more, whereas the Charlotte Tilbury, you can still see the light a little bit more. So that's the difference on my hand. Now, how are we going to use this? So it says you can wear it alone, under or over your makeup, or mix with foundation, or use as a highlighter. So you can wear it alone, under your makeup or over your makeup, mix it with foundation, or use it as a highlighter. And that's pretty much the same thing for the Charlotte Tilbury, although they don't have instructions written on their bottle. So I found that I don't like using it alone. I just feel like it makes me look kind of greasy, and it also just like doesn't give me the coverage I need because I do tend to have acne marks on my face, so I don't like using it alone. For the purpose of this video, what we're going to do is I'm going to do Charlotte Tilbury on one side of my face and then e.l.f. on one side of my face. And then we'll look at how that looks, and then I will use my Lancome foundation on top of that. Now, I just bought this Lancome foundation recently. I haven't used it on my face yet. But the reason I want to use this with my face for these products is because this claims to be a care and glow foundation. So maybe that'll help with the glow effect more. Alright, so since we are doing a glowy look, I decided we would use the Rare Beauty Illuminating Primer. And hopefully that doesn't throw us off too much in terms of what we're trying to figure out with the glowiness. So I will only use a little. Alright, now this is the final look with the Rare Beauty Illuminating Primer. I do think it did add a little glow, but now the real test is to use the Charlotte Tilbury. So one thing I've learned is you don't want to use a lot of product on your face because then it just looks weird. But I did do that a lot when I first got this. So I'm just going to do little dots on my face, and I'm going to use my Real Techniques brush to blend it out. Alright, Alright, and this is what the Charlotte Tilbury looks like. Now I have white lights in my room, so the lighting will be different how it looks. But I do definitely see that glow now that I've added the Charlotte Tilbury, and I was pretty careful about not like smearing the product all over my face. I did dots and then I blended it out, so it's a bit more natural looking, and I do think it looks good. In the past, I used to like smear it all over my face with the applicator, and I think that like dotting and blending it out looks a lot better. And you can definitely see like over here and like over here, like where the light kind of hits me, it does give a little bit of that glowy effect. And then if you look on this side, it's a little bit more matte in my opinion. So now we're going to use the e.l.f. Halo Glow on the other side, and I'm going to use the same brush. I'll try to wipe it off a bit so none of the Charlotte Tilbury gets on. Alright, so this is e.l.f. and I do think I ended up using a little bit more product when I used the e.l.f. because the applicator is bigger, so it just kind of happened. And I feel like this also definitely gives a bit of a glow, but I think the Charlotte Tilbury might be giving a little bit more glow. But honestly, I don't see that big of a difference if I look at it in my side mirror. So that's the difference. This is e.l.f. Halo Glow and this is Charlotte Tilbury. If I had to pick a side, I probably would pick Charlotte Tilbury, but I might be being a little biased. I just think that like this side still looks a little bit more matte in my opinion, and I feel like this part in certain areas is a little bit more glowy. But anyhow, we're going to finish this off with the Lancome foundation. This is the shade 335W, and I have not used this before, so this is the first time. I used like small samples of the Lancome foundation, and I just decided to get this because it looked good in the samples. So what I'm gonna do is the same thing. I'm just gonna dot this all over my face and we'll see how this looks in the end. And this is the final look. So this side is Charlotte Tilbury and this side is the e.l.f. Halo Glow. Personally, I don't see that big of a difference between them. If I look in the mirror, since I know I did Charlotte Tilbury on this side, I do kind of feel like this side is slightly better, but this side does feel a little bit more matte to me in my opinion. So I do think the Charlotte Tilbury is slightly better, but is it really worth paying that big of a price tag? That's up to you to decide. So I would recommend the Charlotte Tilbury for someone who is okay with paying the price tag, loves shopping at Sephora, loves Charlotte Tilbury, and plans on using this regularly. And then I would recommend the e.l.f. Halo Glow for someone who wants this but doesn't plan on using it often and doesn't plan on, I guess you would say, like spending a lot of money. Then you should get this. Now, which one will I use going forward? Since I already own both of these, I'll probably use the Charlotte Tilbury more, and then this one I'll use every now and then, I guess, because I'm not really pleased with the shade match of this. And if I were to repurchase, so I know Charlotte Tilbury makes these in minis. Let me check how much those are. So I checked out how much the mini of this is, and the mini of this is $19, which is not bad, but the problem is they don't have them in all the shades. Like the shade I have, medium number 4, they don't have it in this shade. They have a 4.5. So if you can find this in your shade in the minis, then I definitely recommend checking that out. But that's my thoughts on Charlotte Tilbury versus e.l.f. Halo Glow. Let me know what you think. Which side do you think is better? Do you think I'm being biased toward Charlotte Tilbury because it's high-end? Or do you think the e.l.f. color match is a big problem and it just isn't as good? Let me know what you think down below. Bye!